To go. Good afternoon and welcome to this Municipality of Dutton Dunwich Council meeting. It is February 26, 2025. It is 5 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drulard, that the meeting of the council, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And number two, any declaration of pecuniary interest. Councillor Drulard.
Thank you. I am declaring a declaration for item 11A, municipal grant requests. They are indirect pecuniary interest. I'm a member or volunteer of the Wellestown Ag Society, the Wellestown Optimist Club, Rural Roots Market, Turkana Heritage Society, and the Dutton Dunwich Horticultural Society.
Okay. And I will be declaring a conflict on planning. ZBA 0125 for 28660 Talbot Line. Any other declarations?
I didn't fill out a form, but I'm not sure if I need to declare on the Turkana Heritage Society. I am a member, but I'm not a participating member.
I'm a member as well.
So,
Okay, item 3, adoption of the draft minutes. They were all in your agenda package. Are there any errors or omissions? I see none. The minutes will be adopted as presented to council. Clerk Tara, are there any items not listed on the agenda?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. On to Drainage Department, and we have a couple of tenders to review. First one is the David Carroll tender. See the recommendation. Any questions or comments from council? I see none. Clerk Tara, do we have a resolution?
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Tender Results David Carroll Drain dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council award Van Bree Infrastructure the contract for the construction of the David Carroll Drain in the amount of $182,120 plus HST. And further, that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And we have the David Carroll Drain number 3 tender results as well. Any comments or questions from council on that one? Clerk Tara, resolution, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Tender Results David Carroll Drain number 3 dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council award Van Bree Infrastructure the contract for the construction of the David Carroll Drain number 3 in the amount of $111,015 plus HST. And further, that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, that brings us to 6, the planning department. I will hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor Loveland at this time. Time is it now? We've got lots of time. Okay, let's move on to correspondence. And the first item is the municipality of North Bruce Peninsula proposed mandate that all new cars and trucks sold in Canada be equipped with a tow hook. Council wish to comment on that one. They raise a good point here. The last snowstorm, I had a Tesla got stuck in front of my dad's house, and I went to help this guy out, and there was absolutely nowhere to hook onto this thing. And then Alan Killip came along and he said, I'd pull you out too, but I'm afraid of wrecking your car. So anybody doing service work, it makes sense to me, but any other comments? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula and the merit to having tow hooks installed on new vehicles throughout the province of Ontario, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item B, Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula, cell towers and their associated maintenance. Any comments from council on that one? It can be a problem, what the issues they raise. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula requesting Canada and the province of Ontario to set targets to close gaps in cellular service in rural communities and mandate service providers in partnership with all levels of government to develop a 48-hour maximum maintenance period for repairing of cellular infrastructure. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And the last item, Town of Fort Erie, Provincial Election Healthcare Advocacy. Any comments from council on that? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewlart, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Town of Fort Erie requesting that the province of Ontario put a moratorium on the closure of urgent care centers and the implicit removal of primary care health services from all small and rural communities in Ontario until Dr. Philpott's mandate is complete to ensure that all Ontarians are attached to a primary care physician, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Town of Fort Erie. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, and the last one?
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. There are 4 items on there. The Dutton Dunwich Economic Development Committee newsletter, Elgin Primary Water System, Master Plan, AMO Policy Update, Action on Tariffs and Trade, and Elgin County Council Highlights. Council wish to speak to any one of those 4. Councilor Dreyfus.
Looking at the Elgin area primary water, looks like the master plan is being developed in particular for the battery plant. Is that the primary consensus there?
I'll refer to Deputy Mayor Loveland on that one.
Yeah, originally they weren't too concerned about the water that the battery plant would use, but I think there's some other plants coming as well, kind of move things up a little quicker. So they've hired a company to start that process. Just make the comment again that battery plant is looking to use the equivalent of 30,000 households water for that thing. So it's a big demand in the system.
Okay, thank you. Resolution, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we still have some time to use up here. Number 9 is the clerk's report, and it's policy review. There's quite a list on there. Council wish to comment or speak on any one of those? Deputy Mayor Loveland.
I don't think I can support the draft pets in the workplace policy. It's something that I don't think a lot of municipalities do, and I just can't see the advantage of that here.
Any other council members on any of those policies? Go ahead. Counselor
I
Bruner.
kind of feel the same about that because I'm afraid of dogs. So having dogs here would not make me want to come in. Like if I don't know a dog, I'm afraid of it. So I'm sure there's others in the municipality that would feel the same, or allergies. I mean, it would be different if it was for service purposes, but having our pets come to work with us, I just can't support it.
Any other comments? Can we,
I'll just comment.
go ahead?
I don't have a problem with the policy other than the fact that, if there is, have to be very sensitive to allergies and everything else, but all in all, it's happening a lot more in different workplaces, so either way is fine.
We'll come back to that one. Are there any other policies here that council wishes to speak to? Everybody's good with the rest of them? Before I call a vote on that, Clerk Tara, do you want to take a look at that particular one again? Are there any modifications that would be acceptable or?
So I don't think there's any modifications you could do if council does not want any pets in the workplace. This policy was more so for having pets in the workers areas, nowhere near the public, and there would be no access to where the public is. It was just more setting some guidelines for staff if they're going to bring in their pets, making some safety measures, making sure that everybody's got their shots, that everybody's safe, everybody's healthy, and that there's no risk of them being near food, things like that. But if council does not want them in the workplace at all, we can do that as well and just.
That fair? Okay. Let's pull that one out of there.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled 2024-2026 Policy Review Part 4, dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council approve the following policies: F03003 Development Charges Interest Policy, H02001 R Zone Respect and Responsibility Policy, H04003 Vacation Policy, H04004 Hours of Work Policy. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just get some further direction from council that you do not want us to bring back the pets policy? I don't, no?
Personally, I'm getting the feeling that council would rather not
Okay.
at this time. So.
Yep, that's fine. Perfect.
Okay.
Just one.
Go ahead.
I am okay with leaving it in the budget, but I would recommend that we wait until we move forward with our new CAO to make that higher.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna say the same thing. I agree with keeping it in there. I like the job description. It looks like a position we could really use moving forward with the circumstances we're in. So some more expertise in that area would be appreciated. So I'm all for it. But yeah, I would think we want to wait to put it out for hire until we've figured some other things out.
I'm just throwing it out there, but I don't know, if it would hurt us to initiate the process. I don't think it would hurt us at all. At the very least, we're getting the word out there and we're starting to gather, potential candidates for the job. If it's, if it's in the budget, and we move forward with, I think we can move on it sooner than later, but that's, again, I can live with waiting, but we're in a situation where infrastructure has become priority in our municipality, and I think it's even more crucial at this point than even some of our CAO role. So I'll leave that with council.
I think we better get the budget passed before we handle this, so, okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewler, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Manager of Infrastructure Job Description dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council approves the job description and includes the salary in the 2025 operating budget. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. Other staff reports, we have the 2025 municipal grant requests, and that's in your agenda package. We just had a chance to look at it. Are there any questions or comments? Marilys, I know you're sitting this one out.
Yeah, I am on there. Oh, you changed. Did you change it? I am on there as the mover, if you could have my name removed from that. And I believe, yeah. So if you could do that, thank you, and I'll just take my seat in the gallery.
Okay. I expect the budget committee has gone over this.
Really?
No. Okay, well, there's some recommendations here with it.
If I may, that's in compliance with the new grant policy that you guys approved in November.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the recommendation.
I have some concerns that I think I'd like to discuss, and I don't have a problem with the Wallacestown Ag Society. That seems to be fine. The Optimus, I wasn't aware, and maybe I'm just missed it, but I don't think we gave $2,000 to Ladies Night, but we did give them free rent of the facility. Am I correct in saying that?
So previously we did give them, sorry, maybe James can answer it, but previously we did give them both cash and the free rent. The in-kind rentals is part of the other policy that you guys approved in November for waiver of rentals, so that doesn't come to council until the report at the end of the year.
Okay. But we're still gonna give them the facility.
It'll be in compliance with the policy.
I didn't really get an answer, so are we gonna give them the facility or not for free, or is that something?
I believe they get up to $1,000.
And I also, I know the rural roots is, most of that money goes directly to the daffodil. And I think if we don't approve some of those, then we're really taking some money away from them. So I guess I'm a little concerned about that as well.
You want to leave it in? Is that your comments?
I think some of those things are we've been doing for quite a while, and I know maybe we did change the policy, but I think there's some good that comes out of that, and that's a very that organization has seen a big increase in the need for the assistance they give to our residents. So I'm a little reluctant to cut much out of them.
Okay, any other? Go ahead, Councillor Dreyfus.
Yeah, and I think the intent of the rural roots market is that the vendors are actually making money, and I think we had develop the policy in line with being not-for-profit. So I, all I will say is that if staff administration could just make sure that obviously it doesn't comply with our policy, that's why it's denied, correct? And so I don't know, I think at some point as a municipality, we kind of have to draw the line with where we're going with our finances. And I'm not disagreeing with Deputy Mayor Loveland, it's just that I think we have to start someplace. The other point I want to make, and I brought this up before council before, is the Chicano Heritage Society. We approved 10,000 financial support, and we do some in-kind value. I just struggle with this being as a donation. I brought it up before that we need to have a line item in our financials that indicate culture and heritage in general. Every municipality has it in some form or another. We've been given this money to Bacchus Page, whether it be, I think it started off as $2,500. It went to 5,000. Now it's 10,000. We've been giving funds to Chicano Heritage Society for more than 25 years. This is not a donation anymore. This is a line item in our financials. And I think we need to consider it not being a direct donation from council. That's my personal point of view. There may be other things that we need to look at. The Dutton Dunwich Seniors Group, we do $2,500 in financial support. I'm getting to the point with most organization in Chicano Heritage Society as well, that we need to see something that says you are carrying a set of books, that you're financially viable, and that we can justify to our ratepayers and our taxpayers exactly why we're giving the money to them. So this year, as an example, the Wallstown Agricultural Society presented their financials to us. They requested $10,000 and we approved 5,000. That's a prudent way to administer finances from the public. And I feel like we need to step back and actually assess these as they come to the table and not just formally grant them every single year. And especially, we'll probably have an opportunity to speak to this later, but especially with the financials, the financial position that the municipality is in, we've got to start looking at these things very seriously and justifying to the public exactly what we're doing. So again, I'm just asking administration to look at Chicano Heritage Society in particular and to actually create a line item that is culture and heritage. And if there's any other ones in there that fit that category, we should be lumping them into the same category as a line item that we can, as finance committee, justify. So.
Okay, any other comments? Councilor Pembroke.
Thanks, Mayor Henster. Yeah, I guess I was a little confused too with the ladies' night. I didn't realize we gave them cash. I always thought it was just a donation in kind of the facility. So I guess I just wanted to make sure that that was still in place. And I was questioning about the remove large projection screen and lift basketball. Have we done this in the past? Like all of a sudden we don't have the equipment. Like I'm not sure why they're asking for it and we're denying it if we've done it in the past. I was a little confused by that. So I was just looking for some clarity on that if we've done it in the past, is there all of a sudden a reason why we can't continue to do it now?
Can't answer that. Anybody know?
I don't believe we have done it in the past because we just don't have the equipment to get that stuff down.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard from.
And I'm okay with it. I just didn't understand. I wanted clarification on that one. That if we've done it, why can't we do it now?
Yeah, I think the officers do have a lift there and they've done it themselves in the past.
Okay.
So. But I think they have that for decoration. Don't know, never been there, so ladies' night.
Anyone else? Just a comment on the Chicano Heritage Society. Did they formally ask for the funding this year with an application?
Yes,
They did. Okay. Did they provide any financial documents?
yes, they did.
Okay. And the seniors, they never have, but
They submitted an application as well.
did they? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Are we approving this in the resolution tonight, Tara? All of these figures and everything? Okay, well, we need to, they're all lumped together. So let's go down, Ag Society, $5,000. Everybody good with that one? Okay. And all the rest that goes with it's all in kind? We're good with that? The grader, the optimists. They've got some in kind here. The way this is written, is everybody okay with that? I'm good with the way it's written.
I guess I can live with that as long as they get their in-kind donations that they requested.
Okay. The Rural Roots Market. The recommendation is to deny. Go ahead, Councilor Perry.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to ask the question where, like, if it is just going to the vendors, then I'm okay with denying it. If it's going back, if some of the proceeds are actually going back to the Daffodil Society, I'd like to know that before we approve or deny it. I'm okay with denying if it all goes back to the vendors. You know, it's their vendor, it's their market. I'm happy there and I'm happy to support it, but yeah, I think we made it pretty clear if it's a for-profit thing that we're not giving money to it. So I guess I just would like clarity on that one, but
Go ahead.
My understanding is that the girl that runs that donates all the profit she makes from the operation of it to Daffodil Society. But the people do sell stuff and it's no different than the market that is supported through the economic development community in a way. So I think if we're gonna have a policy, we need to apply it not only to this market, but also to the one that economic development supports as well.
What is the $1,200 for? Does anybody know?
To cover some of her expenses, to help cover some of the expenses of putting on the market.
So there was an application.
There was an application, yep, and
Okay.
a simplified income and expense sheet.
Okay, thank you. Well, where are we on this one?
Well, I guess my only comment is I'm not disagreeing with any comments here. I'm just saying is that we have a policy
Mhm.
and the policy either has to be reviewed or it has to be, we have to follow the policy or there's no point in the policy.
I agree.
And if that's what it takes for us to review the policy, then we need to have it come back to council.
I'm okay with the way the recommendation is here now. So who else is on that page? Problem is, we've only got 4 here right now.
yeah, I'm okay with the way it is for right now. If they want to come back and explain things better and appeal that decision, then I'm fine with allowing them to do that. But the way it is right now, it meets our policy. And again, if we're going to stick with our policy, we stick with our policy.
Toronto Heritage Society. You want to pull that one out of there? And run around the line item?
Yes, I would. I think it's time. I think it should have been done a long time ago. I think it should have its own line item in the budget.
Okay. Let's pull that out of there. The seniors group. We're gonna give them $2,500. Everybody's nodding. Horticulture Society. Do a lot of good work on the street. Okay with that one? And the Dutton Car Show. That's in kind. And that's an event that brings more people in than. Okay, so the only one we're removing here, Tara, with the Toronto Heritage Society, we're recommending it be put in the budget in a different spot. So how do you, can you rewrite the resolution or?
So the resolution is approve the grants as presented, so they're gonna go into the budget after this. So it'll still be the same numbers going into the budget, but next year we can look at putting the Tyrconnell Heritage Society as a different line item.
Okay. Let's call a question.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the deputy treasurer titled 2025 municipal grant request dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council approve the 2025 municipal grant requests as presented. All in favor? And that's carried. Was that a hand up, Ken?
It's great.
Okay.
Okay, it's 5:30. So I'm gonna hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor Loveland for planning.
Barry, you have a motion to get us into that meeting.
Um, So moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 01/25 filed by Peter Littlejohn for property located at 28660 Talbot Line opens at 5:31 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
This is a public meeting as required by section 34 of the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject property from agriculture A1 zone to special agriculture A2 zone and site-specific exemption special rural residential RS 31 zone. The subject property is locally known as 28660 Talbot Line in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. Does any member of council have disclosure of interest concerning the proposals? Seeing none. Tara, what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
A sign was posted on the subject property by the February 7th, 2025 deadline, and notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property on February 5th, 2025.
Thank you. I'll introduce our planner Tracy to present her report.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the members of the council. It's a zoning bylaw amendment before you. It's an application submitted by the property owner. This was a condition of land division E1624 for property located at 28660 Talbot Line. So as a condition of severance, a zoning bylaw amendment is required to rezone both the severed and the retained parcel. The circulation, the only item to note is that the building department did an inspection and did have conversations with the applicant, and the property owner had noted that there may be livestock kept in the barn, which is located on the severed parcel. The building inspector did confirm that MDS2 would apply and a nutrient management plan would be required. From that conversation, we've yet received anything. So the applicant would still be required to comply with the zoning. They'll either have to come back for a minor variance or another zoning bylaw amendment, or try to comply with the current zoning bylaw requirements for MDS2 and the nutrient management requirements. So with respect to what's proposed this evening as a condition of consent, the severed parcel will be rezoned into an exception special rural residential on RS-31. That will permit the non-farm residential use. The retained parcel will be rezoned as a special agricultural A2, and that will prohibit any new residential uses on that property. And when we review the A2 and RS, the proposed severed maximum lot area is greater than what is required under the zoning bylaw. So relief is also included to increase the that requirement. So based on their full review, the proposed application does comply with the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Relief to increase that lot area is a requirement, and all other zone requirements can be complied with. So administration does recommend that the zoning be approved. Again, as a condition of the severance application, all barns capable of holding livestock or in disrepair on both the retained and severed parcels are to be removed or decommissioned to the satisfaction of the CBO. So there is still a trigger through the consent conditions to address that livestock. And again, if the applicant wishes to keep that barn capable of holding livestock, they do need to confirm nutrient units and MDS2. And then if that cannot be complied with, another relief will need to be applied for. So after the decision this evening, there is a 20-day appeal period. And if there are no appeals, then that this would fulfill one of those conditions of the land division application. So I'm happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time.
Okay, Tara, did you receive any comments from staff?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Did you receive any written submissions on this application?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Before I open the floor to questions from the public, please be advised that if any person from the public wishes to receive further information on the action of council regarding the passing of bylaw on the proposed amendment, please ensure that they leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. I'll open the floor for questions from the public. Seeing none. Does council members or member of the public have any further questions? Peter, did you want to make a comment? Okay.
We're gonna abide by the original application.
Okay. Good, thank you. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of our bylaw on the proposed amendment should leave their name, address, postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. If you're not the applicant, you should request a copy of the decision since it may be appealed to the Ontario Line Tribunal by the applicant or another member of the public. The last day for appeal is March 19th, 2025. Tara, did you have a resolution?
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZBA 01/25 28660 Talbot Line, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, Peter Littlejohn, dated February 26, 2025 for information, and that council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 01/25 for property located at 28660 Talbot Line from agricultural A1 zone to special agricultural A2 zone and site-specific exemption, special rural residential RS-31 zone in accordance with the site-specific bylaw 2025-13. All in favor? And that's carried.
The public meeting is now concluded. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 01/25 filed by Peter Littlejohn for property located at 28660 Talbot Line closes at 5:38 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Loveland, for taking care of that. I think we had one staff report. We have the cemeteries and Cowell Park grass cutting quotes. It was in your agenda package. Gotta find it here. Okay, everybody's had a chance to review it. Any questions or comments, Deputy Mayor Love?
Glad to see this finally come about. And I guess my only comment is that maybe a couple other ones that we should be looking at as well. One is the park on Talbot Line. It's quite a ways from the office and it used to be tendered years ago. But I know it wasn't on the part of the list. And maybe even perhaps the South Dunwich Hall, because that would save a lot of driving mowers back and forth to all the time. So
So I know that the Talbot Parkette was originally discussed as being part of it, but staff felt that that needs to be kept up with their standards of care, since a lot of people do stop there off the highway for breaks and picnics and such stuff. So they would rather keep doing that, even though it is a bit of a drive out there. And South Dunwich Hall was actually never considered with these, with this quotation process.
The Talbot rest area, they have washrooms and all kinds of other stuff to look after out there. Is that their thinking as well? They gotta go anywhere? Or anywhere?
I believe it's porta potties out there.
I don't
So-
believe our staff looks after that.
We don't
That's,
No.
that's a
touch them?
contracted
No,
service.
that'd be part of the maintenance of the rental of the
Oh.
porta potty.
Yeah,
So,
I would like the rationale on keeping that one in-house as well. I agree, if we're gonna farm it out, why not that one as well?
I would support you in that as well.
Yeah. And can we revisit that in the South Dunwich Hall as well?
Yep.
Okay.
just one quick comment about the park and maybe some of the reason is the park on Talbot Line does get a lot of garbage dropped off there. So they do have to go out there regularly and do that, but I still think we could hire the grass cutting and have staff just stop in and do that.
Okay. We'll take a run at that again. And what about the other ones here that are in front of you? Go ahead, Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this. We'd asked for it a while back and we talked about it through budget committee and I'm glad to see we got it as many as we did actually quote on it. Prices look fairly decent. Dirt Devils seems to be the lowest for most of them and I just wonder if it'd be beneficial to go back to them and say, hey, you were high on one. Can you bring your price down and we might be able to work with you on all of them instead of separating it out. Because other than the one, they were the lowest on all of them.
Legally, can we do that?
I think if you add them all up as a total, Dirt Devils is the lowest. So I think you can, through your procurement policy, go back and try and renegotiate, but you would have to look at your procurement policy to know. But if you added it all together, Dirt Devils is the lowest overall.
Mhm.
They're high on the one cemetery. So I'm not opposed to giving it to the lowest one, but I wonder if it wouldn't be beneficial to try and negotiate with Dirt Devils, but it would depend on if that follows our procurement policy or not.
Okay, any other comment?
Just a quick question to James, when it was put out for tenders, was there that clause put on the bottom that lowest or any other tender not necessarily accepted? Because I don't have a big problem actually going with low on Green Street and Dirt Devils on all the rest. Sometimes maybe that Fairview Cemetery is a big job. Maybe it's doesn't have to be the same people doing it.
I don't believe there's anything in the ad for the quotations that said lowest would be accepted.
There is quite a difference on Fairview. Unless I'm missing something now. Go ahead, Councillor Pemberton.
No, and I'm okay with the way the motion reads. It says to go with the lowest quote for each overall cemetery. It was just a thought that. But if we want to go with the lowest and give one to Dirt Devils or one to Green Street and the rest to Dirt Devils, I'm fine with that as well.
Just a comment. I think the Finance Committee asked this to go to council and then be reviewed. I'm wondering maybe if we could punt it back to the Finance Committee and then we would make a recommendation at our next meeting. Would that be something we could entertain rather than make a motion tonight so we could have a formal discussion with James and go through all the details? Because we did have a concern with the level of expectation at, for example, Fairview, which is our main cemetery. We were concerned about that and when they would cut it, because if you're looking at Mother's Day, we wanted to have it, Father's Day, we wanted to have it sort of appropriate. So I think I would entertain just sending it back to the committee and then we could make a formal decision at our next meeting if that works for council.
A few details here. Go ahead.
I don't have a problem with doing that, but I don't know why we need to. We've gone to tender, we got the tenders in front of us. I'm ready to make the decision and go on with life, to be quite truthful.
Go ahead, Councillor Drewler.
I did notice that Dirt Devils did put a note in theirs that they will adjust the schedule so it is cut for special days. So I'm assuming that would mean Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, whatever other special days that might fall in there. I'm making an assumption here, but they are the only ones that made that specific note in their offer.
Has council seen enough to make a decision? Or do you want to hand it back to? The only concern I'd like cleared up, the one has additional maintenance, $70 an hour. How do you define that? And could that get a little carried away on Fairview?
I think the additional maintenance is like if you want it raked or swept or rolled or things of that nature. So the quote is just for grass cutting, not additional, if I remember correctly.
Correct. Yeah, so the $70 an hour is, the extra maintenance is, like Corey said, for spring or fall, or if there's public flower beds out there that need to be done or something like that.
Okay. I understand now. Okay, are we gonna put this one to bed tonight? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the deputy treasurer titled Cemeteries in Cowell Park Grass Cutting Quotes dated February 26, 2025 for information. And that council consider contracting out the lawn care maintenance for each cemetery site to the lowest bidder of each cemetery for 2025. All in favor? And that's carried.
And can we, direction of council, revisit South Dunwich Hall and the Talbot park area as well? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're on to item 12, unfinished business. Find it. And it is the wastewater treatment plant and collection system, and I believe it is Deputy Mayor Loveland, you wanted to speak to that?
Yeah, I got a couple of things I'd like to speak to. I have kept the staff and the rest of council copies of emails I've had with a company called EcoFix. We ran into them at Roma, and they specialize in bringing these older plants up to increasing the capacity in them. They will give us a free estimate and estimate how much they could increase our capacity. I think Mr. Smith would like council to listen to his sales pitch one time before he gives us his formal price. They're out of Quebec, but they do have some facilities in Ontario that have used this process. He thinks he can get as much as 50% more capacity.
Sorry, what was that number?
50% more capacity. Now, it may not be that when he looks at the details, but he does have all of our ministry reports for the last 2 years, and so he is working on that as we speak. So he's available tomorrow, Friday, first of next week. If it would have to be a council meeting, of course, if there's more than 2 council members there. And he'd like staff to be as well. And it's an opportunity to ask some questions. Nothing may come out of it, but it's a half hour of our life we may not get back. But other than that, I think it's worth listening to this proposal.
Okay, could we get probably Archie and a couple of counselors to hear him out first of all? Would that be?
Yeah,
Workable.
I think as many councils as can, and chair may have to sit in as well if it's going to be a meeting and be advertised, but I think it's worth listening to. I talked to him quite a bit at Toronto, and I know you talked to him like for a few minutes. I know Henry did as well. So it's worth listening to. Again, nothing may come out of it, but I think it's something that we should investigate.
Any comments from council?
Yeah, I would agree. I think at this point in time, if it's a free estimate, if it's not costing us money and there's a possible solution, I think we're silly not to listen to them. I think we've got to bring back what's been done in the past so we can all understand that. And try and figure out a way to move forward. So if this person is ready and willing to do something, then I fully support it.
Any other comments? Councillor Dreyfus.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Hens, I did have a conversation at Roma with respect and also with Deputy Mayor Loveland at the same time. So I'm not sure of the obviously not sure of the percentage of capacity increase we can get. I don't think it would be 50%, but it might be 5 or 10 or whatever. I'm not sure, but it never hurts to have a conversation and assess the process. I think I'd feel better if the concept was shared with Dylan. I think it's important that they are aware that we are looking at or considering or looking or exploring. I guess it's the fair thing to do. We have obligated ourselves to them developing the wastewater system as it stands right now. We're committed to that process. The other part to this is that, in speaking with Jason last week, excuse me, the treatment plant design will be complete near the end of March, and they'll be 90% complete for submittal, and then the system that carries the wastewater to the plant will be ready in the next week or so. So we're very close, and the only holdback here is our finances, and we're at a point where we've done a lot of work in the last 2 years, and we're moving forward slowly. And it's unfortunate that we are in this situation today, and that we're having to deal with this in this manner, which makes it very difficult for us as counselors. And I think we have to understand the severity, and I think we all do understand the severity of this as municipal counselors, and what the impact that it can have on us personally as well. So we need to be aware of that. So we've hired an engineer. The engineer is Dylan. They're under our contractual obligation to proceed. And we have to honor that, and going against that at this time places us at more liability. And I think we need to be aware of that as council. Anyway, that's my point of view is that let's talk to them and see what the cost is going to be, and then we'll decide from there whether we can move forward. So.
Councillor Pemberton.
I have I don't disagree with Councillor Dreyfus. If we're under a contractual obligation, but I don't think we're under contract not to listen to other ideas or other thoughts or suggestions. And the more educated we get, the better off the decision we can make. I don't think we're making a decision for them to come down and do anything right away. It's just hearing them out and seeing what the options are. So again, I'm not opposed to hearing them out, but yeah, I don't think we can make any decisions until we have all the facts in front of us. So.
Go ahead.
I agree. I don't think, like, we've asked that numerous times for Dylan to come up with a kind of a piecemeal approach maybe, so we don't have to spend all that money at once. They really haven't done that to us. I don't really think we have a contract with them that's that serious. I mean, they really, and we, even at last meeting, we asked for that and we haven't heard anything back yet either. So if they're not prepared to look at other alternatives than to buy the Lincoln, then I think we have a right to look elsewhere as well. I think we owe our taxpayers that.
Any further? Go ahead, Councillor Dreyfus.
If you don't mind, through your mayor, and so I'd like to address that comment. I'm not disagreeing with the approach. I do feel, however, that since March of 2010, we have been aware of this situation, and not me personally, but our municipality, and in all the investigating and reading I've done on the wastewater treatment plant, this has been a top priority for Dylan, and that has made us aware of it. And maybe the possibility of a council or administration that was unwilling to proceed with moving forward. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything here. It's just that we have developed in this town beyond our capacity, and we have developed without a plan moving forward. And that's the situation we are now. When we came into council this session, it was the priority of our CAO and our mayor to bring this to the forefront. That was our priority. And now we're in a situation where council is put in a situation where we have to respond. And we have to respond in a manner that is, I guess, prudent and efficient, and also professional, relying on the experience of those engineers that have put it before us. So this isn't new. We've done minor adjustments. This all started back in 2010 when the McDonald's was put into our system, and all the changes that were made at that time period. So and if you look at the reports and you look at identify the zones that were developed and established at that point in time, with the system that was built at the time, we couldn't even have put Leach Street online. And now we have, and it doesn't even accommodate Lila at that point. So all we've done is reroute waste through pump stations and not address the core problem, which was identified back in 2012, that we had an issue with the capacity. So we've got to start acting like a bigger city. We've got to start acting like that we rely on people to help us get there. We as councilors are here for 4 years. We move on, and this needs to be addressed in this council, and the precedent needs to be set that it has to be handled by professional people. And that's my position. I'm beyond trying to solve this ourselves. Doesn't mean we can't listen to this company. I'm not saying that, but we need to move forward, and we need to do this correctly, and we need to do this professionally and take it out of our hands, because we don't know what we're doing. Obviously, we've done it for 15 years and we've made mistakes. So that's my position.
Okay. Yeah, we've all been aware, and we've been in this council for 2 years. We've seen the reports from the wastewater treatment plant for 2 years that we're at capacity or over capacity. The council before we saw the reports getting close to capacity. So yeah, it's time to move on. Dylan is close. the force main is all but done. The EA, the engineering, it's there. And as he mentioned, he can have the treatment plant that close as well. We can't foot the bill ourselves. So it's still, we're gonna have to go to the province, hat in hand, and I think there are some options that as well. And I'm not against Deputy Mayor Loveland looking at these options. I did forward that literature to Dylan already. So they know what we're looking at, and we're to the point where we gotta look at everything. Okay, and I will also say that Jason and Archie had a good conversation last Friday afternoon. One of the things looked at, and we used to be able to do it, was in an emergency, throw it into the lagoon and recant, pull it back out. Apparently Archie is not able to do that due to some sludge issues, so they are exploring that. That doesn't help our capacity out there, but it may get us through the big rain events where we can solve an issue. So we'll go ahead. I don't know how you want to set up the information meeting from this company, but I'll be available if I'm available. That's all I can say at this time. We're all good? Okay.
I guess if we just pick a time that suits some of the council members, and whoever can get there can and listen to it. And if you want Dylan involved, they can sit in as well.
Okay, is there we do have a resolution on that one?
I'm not sure if Counselor Pemberton wants to speak to it as he brought forward the motion.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Hens, through you again. I guess the resolution was, I wanted this because I wasn't feeling like we were getting all the information that's been and all the work that's done in the past. So I guess I was just asking staff to bring a summary report back to council so that, again, we can be aware of everything that's been done, everything we're working on, and the direction that we should be going. Just again, so we, because there are some things we're missing, and without coming in and going through it with a fine tooth comb, you know, it's hard to make sure we have all that information in front of us. So I want to make sure that we have the information. So yeah, just asking staff to bring a summary report back from what's been done and what the recommendations were. And the other thing I wanted to ask staff to do is to investigate a policy for illegal sanitary connections and an education program. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it, but I think if we educate the public that, you know, maybe their downspouts are going into it or their sump pumps are going into it, and we provide an education program, hopefully some honest people might go, oh, yeah, I didn't realize I couldn't do that. And, you know, ask for help on how to get it out of where it's not supposed to go. So it's just something simple of an education and an illegal connection policy is what I'd like to see come back.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Further to your comment, I think it's a real asset to get every bit of information you can get to read. I've spent the last couple of weeks gathering whatever I can, ask staff for documents that were referred to by Jason. It was enlightening for me. It helped me understand exactly where we're at. And to be honest with you, new coming to council, and you're trying to wrap your head around a wastewater collection system. It's like, you know, we have a fiduciary responsibility to handle the taxpayers' money with utmost respect, and that's kind of where we are. So that it was enlightening for me to help me understand the history of it and moving forward, and that history I want to resolve. I want that history resolved. That's what I want this council to do. And if we can accomplish that in our term of council, that would be a big step forward for this municipality. So.
Comments from staff, the education portion of Councillor Pemberton's request.
So the education program would probably be based on flyers and notices going out from what I've kind of seen from other municipalities. I'd have to investigate it further, but that's just surface level.
Okay. So staff will look into that. Okay, and then I guess as far as the resolution, do like Councillor Dryfoot did. The information's there. I'm just gonna comment, this council didn't cause the problem. We inherited it, but we got to deal with it. And it was, how can I put this? It was development at all cost. That was the attitude, that we're gonna develop no matter what, and we didn't lay the groundwork for that development. Quite frankly, in a nutshell, that's it. Okay, are we gonna deal with that with a resolution? Did you wish to speak?
I've tried several times.
Go ahead.
I understand that, Mr. Mayor. It happens often. I'm fine.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich direct staff to bring forward a summary report of work and decisions made to date for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade and collection system, and that council directs staff to investigate a policy for illegal sanitary connections and education program. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay. Item B, county planning agreement. That was just delivered today, or so I don't know whether you had a chance to look at, there will not be a bylaw tonight. We haven't had time to put that in place, but basically it's what was asked for. It's a pay for service. Also, I had a conversation with our CBO, and she is ready, willing, and able to handle those planning calls that come into this office. And she will handle what she can, and then direct them. If she can't, direct them on to county. Any comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mary Hans. Yeah, I'm much happier with this agreement and the fee for service. There is still one change that I had asked for in the original agreement, section 5.1. And it's the county may terminate this agreement for breach of contract if there's any I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but anyway, it's protecting the county, and I asked that same clause be put in there for the municipality as well. And that wasn't added in, so I'd like to see that added in, but other than that, I was happy with the agreement. Section 5.1. They put it in for the county, they just didn't add the same section for the municipality. There should be a section there that protects us as well.
That's not 5.2.1 deal with the municipality. And then 5.2.2, the county.
I think it's a different exemption though. So 5.1 is for harassment and violence and things of that nature. 5.2 is just to terminate the agreement.
Okay.
And my conversation with Matt today is he forgot to add it in.
Other than that,
Other than that, I was happy with it. I was happy with the rates that they provided. They were very reasonable. So yeah, other than that, I was happy with it.
okay. We will bring a correction back, and hopefully we can deal with this at the next meeting. Okay, moving on. Any new business? Or did you have a resolution for the county? Okay. New business? None? Any announcements? See none? Proposed bylaws. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drillard, that bylaw 2025-12, being a bylaw to appoint an acting treasurer, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Bylaw,
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2025-13, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-50 for land municipally known as 28660 Talbot Line, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay. We have a closed session, which we'll be entering, so thank you for attending. Yeah, wait.
Not yet. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:10 PM in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001, chapter 25, for discussion of the following matters. A, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, section 2392E of the Municipal Act regarding Miller Road street lights. All in favor? And that's carried. I'll stop.
Okay, item 17, confirm proceedings. Bylaw 2025-14. Go ahead.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewlard, that bylaw 2025-14, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, future meetings are before you. And adjournment, clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 6:22 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you.